The brand new Apple Magic Trackpad, keyboard, and mouse are pretty much the same as the ones before, but now with a USB-C port. Here's my review. Let's start with the trackpad. The Apple Magic Trackpad is truly one of a kind. It's perfectly smooth and frictionless. Your fingertips don't feel like they're being sanded down the longer you use it. macOS is easier to use with a trackpad, with its many gestures for navigation, swiping, and zooming. The trackpad isn't a physically clicking button. Removing the physical nature of the click enables three great features. You can click anywhere on the surface with an equal amount of force to click. You don't have to press harder towards the top or on the outer edges. There's a regular click, but you can also click harder for extra functionality. You can force click a link in Safari to see a preview of the web page, force click a word to see a definition, force click a file in a Finder to rename it, and so much more. Force touch trackpads also have haptic feedback. This means you can adjust the force of a click you feel when you click the button. Personally, I have mine set to the light setting. It also means that your trackpad can tap back. When you're dragging something on the Finder or something snaps to a guide, you can feel a little tap. I haven't been a Mac user for life. I was saddled with a couple crummy PC laptops before I could switch to the Mac full time. My broad impression is that PC trackpads are a little better these days, but my God, were they hot garbage before. A 2010 Sony Vaio I briefly used added friction to the surface with plastic nubs. It felt like it was punishing you. The Magic Trackpad is the cream of the crop, the platonic ideal of a trackpad. The design of the USB-C Magic Trackpad is unchanged from the Lightning version before, but compared to the old AA-powered version, it's flatter and significantly wider. I don't mind the shallow angle as much as I thought I would. I got used to that within a day, but the increased width is barely under the limit of being too wide. I often find myself adjusting the position of the trackpad on my desk as I fidget throughout the day, and I move it by pinching my thumb and pinky. It's now so wide that I have to really stretch my fingers out to get a solid grip. On all of these accessories, the materials all feel immaculate. The fit and finish is seamless. Even the on-off switch is beautifully machined with a fantastic click to it. Pairing them with a Mac is easy. Just turn it on and briefly plug it in, and you can plug them in with the nice braided color-matching USB-C cable they come with, and ditch the Lightning cable from your desk. I do wish it came in a neutral silver color rather than black or white. I picked black because I felt like it would better fit the various black peripherals on my desk, but I find my eye keeps getting drawn into the big black void it leaves on my desk surface. The Magic Trackpad is the best way to use a Mac, bar none. It might take some getting used to if you're a lifelong mouse user, but once you switch, you will not go back. There is one downside, and this is true of all three of the Magic accessories. I was hoping that when they were updated, they would get multi-device pairing. AirPods use intelligent pairing. They can effectively stay paired to all your devices at once, so that switching between your iPhone, iPad, Mac, and Apple Watch is seamless. If you have multiple Macs sharing one desk, you might not want two mice, two keyboards, or two trackpads. It can get confusing and crowded. But alas, all of these peripherals use plain Bluetooth and don't take advantage of Apple's technology elsewhere. Apple's answer to that need is universal control, which lets one trackpad control multiple devices, even a Mac and iPad. But that's only true if the devices are physically next to each other and on the same Apple account. If you have a work laptop and a personal laptop, or one of the Macs is signed into a different user, it won't work. Continuity isn't true multi-device pairing. Your trackpad only stays paired to one Mac that acts as a relay. If you take that Mac away, it won't automatically connect to the other one. Now let's move on to the Magic Keyboard. The Magic Keyboard is a chameleon. It perfectly matches the dimensions of the Magic Trackpad you have sitting nearby. The black looks exactly the same, even though the keycaps are plastic and the trackpad is glass. With an iMac, it comes in 6 color-coordinated hues that match the color computer you get. The typeface is San Francisco, the system font used on all Apple platforms since 2015. It's a beautiful font that's highly legible. The symbols and icons on the modifier keys and function keys are gorgeous as well. The optional Touch ID key makes signing into your Mac, autofilling a password or authenticating with a passkey, and buying products with Apple Pay so much easier. Just hold your finger on the key, or you can click it if you prefer, and it'll instantly authenticate. You can also click the button at any time to instantly lock your Mac, much faster than the Command-Control-Q keyboard combination. The Touch ID key also has a different switch than the other keys, so you won't accidentally press it. It's much harder to press. Without Touch ID, you have a lock key instead, which is certainly more useful in 2024 than the CD eject key that was there before. You can also pair your Mac with an Apple Watch to get all the same features, but the interface is much less elegant. It's much easier pressing your finger against a specific key where your hands already are than it is reaching over and double-clicking the Apple Watch side button. The mix of whether Touch ID is available, in which colors, in which sizes, is a little confusing. The compact model comes both with and without Touch ID, but only in white, and if ordered with an iMac, one of 6 accent colors. The full-size model only has Touch ID available on the black color, and the black color costs $20 extra. Now let's talk about the keys. As the snootiest of mechanical keyboard snobs, I'm no longer impressed by the typing feeling of the Magic Keyboard. It's one of the very best as far as laptop-style membrane keyboards go. The keys are very stable and don't wobble. There's a reasonably sized gap between each key. There's a noticeable click feeling, with a quiet but audible sound with every key press. It's nothing you aren't used to, and nothing that will surprise you. But I still found myself making more typos. The keys aren't curved, so unless your fingers hit the very edge of the key, you don't know how close to the center you're hitting. I like a keyboard with more travel, where the keys have to be pressed down further to register. People say that only a bad worker blames their tools, and it's generally true that sharper knives won't make you a better cook, an expensive gaming chair won't make you a better gamer, racing gloves won't make you a better driver. But as someone with a tested typing speed of 83 words per minute blind, I can confidently say that a bad keyboard absolutely will hold you back. As I mentioned, it comes in 2 sizes. The compact layout will save space on your desk. I don't need a full number pad. I'm not an accountant, and I like having a shorter distance between the keyboard and trackpad. The biggest downside is the arrow keys. The left and right keys are the same height as the combined up and down keys, so it's hard to identify them by feel. Apple uses the same compact keyboard layout on the MacBook Pro, except as of 2021, they switched back to the standard inverted T arrow key layout. I don't know why the desktop model gets short-shifted here, especially because on the colorful keyboard for the iMac, it would be nice if you had a little square where the color shined through. Unfortunately, you don't have physical keys for page up, page down, home, end, and forward delete. You can use Option up, Option down, Command up, Command down, and Function delete to get the same functionality back, but it's not as fast or easy. My ideal compact keyboard layout has full-size arrow and navigation keys, but without the number pad. Among keyboard enthusiasts, this is known as the 10 keyless or 87% layout. The full-size layout is a more standard keyboard layout. You have Command, Option, and Control on both sides of the keyboard, arranged in that order symmetrically, going out from the spacebar. It doesn't waste any space on those pointless PC keys. Insert, sysrec, scroll lock, pause break. Instead, you have a context menu key. This was previously the function key, but that's been moved to the bottom left, like on the MacBook keyboard. I'm not sure how useful a context menu key is, but at least I know what it does. The other keys, F13 through F19, are blank. You can assign your own actions to them if you dig through system settings. The giant surface area it occupies on your desk makes you think it should be heavier than it actually is. Although it's made out of metal, I don't think it's artificially weighted at all. I've used plenty of smaller, more compact plastic keyboards that are over twice as heavy. It's really nice. Personally, I'm not going to keep using the Apple Magic Keyboard. I don't think it's nice enough to justify the high price, and none of the models match exactly what I want. But because I don't think Apple is going to make a black 10-keyless keyboard, and because I don't really like membrane keyboards anyway, what I really wish for is a solution for those of us who like third-party keyboards but still want Touch ID. In my dream scenario, Apple would add a Touch ID ring to the Magic Trackpad, so I could still use my preferred keyboard and trackpad with the benefits of Touch ID. It would be right there underneath my fingertips for me to press at any moment, and it wouldn't really take up any space. It's not like I gesture all the way up to the extreme upper right corner anyways. But now, last and least, let's talk about the Magic Mouse. The Apple Magic Mouse is one of the few products in the industry that blends a smooth multi-touch capacitive surface, a mini trackpad, onto a mouse. No scroll wheel or scroll ball, it uses the same gestures you're used to on your iPhone. The surface is perfectly smooth, frictionless glass, which makes the gestures feel effortless, just like the trackpad. The capacitive area extends all the way down the body of the mouse, just to the Apple logo. Flick up, down, left, and right to scroll. Swipe left and right to go forward and back in Safari or Photos. Use 2 fingers and you can swipe between full screen apps. Click with 1 finger in the corner to right-click. It's really something unique. A few others in the PC industry have tried, but none of these products are still for sale today. The PC world has not latched on to the concept, which is why it's so disappointing that the Magic Mouse isn't a very nice mouse. If you like the idea, but don't like a few things about it, you have no other alternatives. There is no version of the Magic Mouse that's more comfortable for larger hands, or more premium, or more cheap. The design reminds me of a surfboard, which perhaps exposes me as a tech blogger from Ohio who doesn't know much about surfing. It's totally symmetrical and not even an inch tall. There are a few things about it that I do like. The black finish looks totally pitch black from the top down, but as you look at it from the side, it turns clear. Despite taking 2 levels of physics in college, I suddenly realize I have very little concept of what actually makes the black glass black. Is there something underneath that's black? Is it dyed black, like a stained glass window in a cathedral? I don't know. The black color highlights the glossy, mirror-like finish in a way the other colors don't. Unlike the Magic Trackpad, which has a matte finish, it doesn't look like a void on your desk. The clickiness of a mouse is one of its most important qualities. It's something you do hundreds, if not thousands of times a day. And the clicky feeling is unchanged from the version before. It is still immaculate. The distance, the force, the feeling, the sound is all perfect. My previous experience with the Magic Mouse was the older battery-powered version, which had a thin metal plate on the bottom that was removable to replace the batteries. By comparison, the bottom of this mouse looks much cleaner. It looks and feels more solid and singular as an object. But now we have to talk about ergonomics. The 2016 to 2020 MacBook Pro was rightly derided for failing to understand its users. The MacBook Air logic of thinness and simplicity was applied at all costs to a computer that demanded power and ports. In a similar way, the Magic Mouse is rightly derided for failing to understand its users, specifically their hands. It's just not comfortable. Scrolling works best if you only scroll with 1 finger. You can keep raising your middle finger to hover it over the surface, but that gets tiring. My middle finger tends to wrap around the edge alongside my ring and pinky fingers. But then it gets really crowded, again because the mouse is so small. Because it's so short, my fingers are constantly rubbing against the desk, especially when I pick it up to adjust its position. You can literally fit a second Magic Mouse in the gap between my hand and the mouse. My favorite Apple mouse of all time is the ADB Mouse 2 from the 90s. Its teardrop shape slips perfectly under my wrist. It too has the philosophy that the entire mouse should be clickable. The top 40% is a button. I would really love to see a Magic Mouse take a cue here. It's also disappointing that it's so far behind the Magic Trackpad. It still doesn't have Force Touch, it still doesn't have haptic feedback and the litany of benefits those provide, and it still doesn't have 3-finger gestures. Now, I'm sure you're all waiting to hear me talk about this, so here goes. The bad ergonomics and the lack of modern features are justifiable knocks against the Magic Mouse. The port on the bottom is not. The battery life is insane. You rarely need to charge it. And when the battery is running low, you get not 1, but 2 notifications on your Mac that it's time to charge your mouse. You can work until the end of the day and then plug it in whenever is convenient. And if you do miss both of those notifications and run your mouse completely dry, only a few minutes gives you enough charge for another full workday. But why is it there in the first place? Because if it was on the front, there would be a big square wart and it would ruin the symmetry of the design. That's not a trade-off Apple is willing to make for something that isn't actually a problem. Worse than the reality of the port being on the bottom is the simple fact that it's a punching bag for social media. Except I only ever see it going viral among the people who would never even consider buying a Magic Mouse in the first place, much less a Mac. And at least the infamous port on the bottom is now USB-C instead of Lightning, and that's a welcome convenience. So should you buy a Magic Mouse? Well, if you really want a multi-touch capacitive scrolling mouse, then yes. But I implore you to try out the Magic Trackpad. It's a little more expensive, it might take getting used to, but it is so much more worth it. And that is my review of the new Magic accessories. Be sure to check out my reviews of the new M4 Max. Remember to like and subscribe. I'm Griffin Jones with Cult of Mac.